So for those of you who didn't see, a couple of videos ago, I actually posted my official 2024 AFL mock draft. And in that video, I, of course, covered the first 10 picks of the draft and who I think they're, of course, going to be selecting. So before you guys watch this video, I do highly recommend you guys go and check that out just so you're, all up to date and whatnot with this. But in today's video, I'm actually going to be going over who I think will be selected with picks 11 through 20 in the 2024 AFL draft. Again, my face is still a little bit pink and red. That's just because I got pretty much touched without consent by the sun the other day at the Caulfield races. Again, probably not a smart idea by me to wear pink to match my pink and red face. I don't know what I was trying to cook with there, but I don't have a stylist and I don't really have much fashion sense. So, I only bought this shirt to go and watch the new Mean Girls movie with it on, and I never even went to go see that movie because apparently it was
the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
But again, before we get into the 11th overall pick, I would just like to say there is still a decent amount of you guys who watch these videos who are not subscribed. So if you could do me a massive favor and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, it would obviously, help a lot and make me a little bit happier while my face decides to peel in 1,800 different spots. But I guess without further ado, with pick number 11, we do have the Richmond Football Club, and I've actually got them selecting Xavier Lindsay, who is actually ranked number 16. The reason I believe this midfielder out of Gippsland, the 183 centimeter mid, is ranked number 16 is because he has actually struggled with a fair bit of injuries. Again, I did believe he missed the final series due to a PCL knee injury and then missed some of the combine with a hip injury as well, I believe. Again, he's had a rough couple of months, but before that, I think he'd had a relatively good history. And the thing is, if Richmond can get him off the injuries and get his body right, this guy's a midfielder who has the easy ability to be able to average a big number of disposals. For example, he did average over 23 disposals per game this most recent season with Gippsland and actually claimed the Morrish Medal in the Coates Talent League for best player. Again, this is seriously a really good midfielder who has, I think, fallen down in the draft ranks just because of his injuries. But with the Tigers really looking for new midfielders, and of course, I've had them taking Sam Lawler, who's a mid forward, and Harry Armstrong previously a key forward. I think it's now time for them to take a natural inside midfielder, and that's why I've got them taking, of course, Xavier Lindsay. Now, with the 12th overall pick, I do have the Richmond Football Club selecting Leo Lombard from the Gold Coast Suns Academy and getting matched by the Gold Coast Suns. So obviously, this is a Suns player who the Suns have the rights to, arguably a player who some out there actually believe could be one of the best in this whole entire draft. He most recently killed it in the combine and showed how good he really is. And I think not only is his football ability great, he's got good speed, he's got good athletic ability. And I believe at one stage, he did have a 7.8 second agility test, which is the 5th fastest in AFL history, and finished second in the 20-meter sprint with a 2.8 second sprint. Again, my fat ass would probably be able to run maybe, 10 seconds in the 20-meter sprint. I don't know how this man's doing it in under 3, but that's flat out crazy. And just when you think the Gold Coast Suns couldn't get enough talent on this team, they're adding even more somehow. And again, I think Richmond will bid on this player decently early, could even bid on him with pick 6 or 7 that they're going to have as well. But again, I think they will bid on him at this pick, and the Gold Coast Suns will definitely match it. With the next pick, Richmond I've actually got them bidding on Isaac Keiko from Essendon, him being matched by them as well. I think Richmond are going to be a little bit of pests here and just try and bid on these academy type of players and make sure these teams, of course, do kind of suffer and don't get these players for cheap. Again, Isaac Keiko is probably the best small forward in this draft, the 175 centimeter. Extremely quick player who is also very versatile, actually bases his game off Shea Bolton and seems to have expressed an interest to potentially evolve his game into playing some midfield as well. Again, Essendon, a team who looks to be going a lot younger, I think, next season, and is 100% going to be looking to, to add a small forward to pair with Jade Gresham, are going to be so obviously matching this pick pretty straight away. And for the 1 out of 1 million chance for some reason Essendon didn't, I mean, Richmond would get the small forward of their dreams. But let's be honest here, I'm just living in an absolute fairyland, and that is never going to happen. Essendon will match this pick. Again, now with the 14th overall pick, finally Richmond settle and they get their man. I've got them selecting 18th ranked player Joe Berry, who I think if someone is going to argue on who's the best small forward in this draft, if it's not Isaac Keiko, they are saying Joe Berry. He is a bit of a taller small forward at about 180 centimeters tall, but is an extremely fast, versatile player that Richmond desperately need to add to their team. Again, I think Richmond are just begging for a reliable small forward at this rate. They had Ryan Mansour, who kicked about a goal a game, and Seth Campbell play a bit of small forward and wing here and there as well. But outside of them, no reliable smalls. Rioli only played like a quarter of the games this year, or half the games, I think. And outside of that, yeah, you had Steely Green floating in there. It wasn't that pretty for Richmond. But the thing is, with a couple of the smalls the Tigers have had is, some of them are good at pressure, but then they can't kick goals. And then some of them can kick goals, but supply no pressure. Joe Berry's a guy who adds a lot of pressure and actually kicked 27 goals in 14 games, which is about an average of 2 per game, which is something Richmond would be killing to add to their squad. So I definitely feel like getting a small forward in this draft is probably a must for the Tigers, and I think they're going to do so with this 14th overall pick and add Joe Berry to the team. Again, now with the 15th overall pick, I've got the West Coast Football Club selecting Luke Traynor, who is the number 1 ranked key defender in this draft class. Again, I think with West Coast losing Tom Barrass, they're going to be looking to add probably a taller defender back there. And Jeremy McGovern, thank God he did finally get over those injuries, but he's still on the older side of things, and every second year a team comes knocking for him, and no one came knocking for him this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if a team came knocking for him next year. So again, they're going to be needing to, I think, add a tall defender, and you've got a 194 centimeter Sandringham Dragon here, obviously played in that flag. Very good contested defender. He actually missed the grand final with concussion, so it turns out he did not play in that flag. Again, some believe he can actually switch up forward, and he has switched up forward a couple times for Sandringham in the most recent season. But I think his career will be spent down back, and as I said, I think the West Coast Eagles are definitely going to be looking for one, and I think they have the chance here to pretty much get the best key back in this draft class. So I feel like they will capitalize on this decision. And look, I don't think they care about the going home factor. I don't think that is in play here. He is from Victoria, but you know what? You got to say screw it. Bring him in. I think it would be a really good pick for them. With the 16th overall pick now, we got Port Adelaide actually selecting Sam Marshall, and that pick being matched by the Brisbane Football Club. Sam Marshall, funnily enough, is a part of the Brisbane Academy, but is not living in Brisbane and playing for Sandringham right now. Again, this is one of the more confusing ones, but we'll move on from it. Again, the Brisbane Lions get another one of the top tier players in this draft. It's pretty interesting to say that Brisbane Football Club get the number 1 ranked player in this draft, which I've got going at number 2, I think I had him at, yeah. And then they also get another guy in the first round in Sam Marshall, who is heading towards Brisbane's midfield with Levi Ashcroft and Will Ashcroft already. Yeah, that is sickening to hear as an AFL fan who doesn't go for Brisbane. Again, in the grand final, this guy had 28 disposals and 2 goals and had a ton of people saying he was best on the ground. The fact that Brisbane are getting him, oh man, is crazy to think. And this team is probably poising themselves to go on a realistically a dynasty run if they really want to, because they're already dominating this draft, which is just crazy to think. Again, Port Adelaide now, they of course moved to pick 17, which I've got them selecting a halfback here in Toby Travaglia. I'm going to be honest here, I don't know how to say this guy's last name. I've heard about 1,800 different people say it, so I'm just going to call him Toby Maguire. I don't know. I like Spider-Man a lot. So, Toby Maguire or Toby Radagalia, Trevor something, is one of the best halfbacks in this whole entire draft. He's actually ranked at the 11th overall pick, so I've got him sliding down to Brisbane in a steal that I think they're really, really going to like here. He actually finished second in the 2 kilometre, and considering Port Adelaide, of course, lost Dan Houston, and Jace Burgoyne really did play a role there. That was very good. I'm not sure if he'll go back to playing there next season or if he'll play on the wing. Either way, I think they are going to be looking for a halfback here, so getting a guy who can practically run all day is a very, very good sign. So I think this is also a steal for Port Adelaide, a genuine bolter, which is really good for them. That, again, having a guy ranked at 11 and getting him at 17 is really a positive thing for them. And I'm not sure if he'll be a Dan Houston replacement straight away, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Pick 18, I've actually got the Fremantle Football Club selecting Bo Allen, who's a midfield / forward, but also spent a ton of time tagging for his team. Again, he is actually from Western Australia, so Freo get a guy here that they know is going to be in it for the long haul, unless for some reason he decided to request a trade to West Coast, but probably not. Again, I'm not too sure if Freo really have that tagger yet, and considering a lot of teams are having a designated tagger now, I think Freo could really use one here, and it really makes their midfield even better. I'm not sure if this guy will play straight away, but a midfield that already looks like Hayden Young, Angus Brayshaw, Caleb Sarong, now Shea Bolton, bits and pieces here and there. You can bring in a tagger here who can come in and shut down a guy if you really need him to, but can also, I think, evolve into being a really good midfielder / forward and also homegrown guy. So I think this makes sense and would be a good pick by Freo. Also is ranked number 12. So another bolter, another player who's fallen down in the draft. At pick number 19, I've got the GWS Football Club. I just think going best available. The number 15th ranked player in Taj Houghton here. Another Sandringham Dragon. That team was literally more stacked than the pancakes my fat ass ate a couple of days ago, which was like 8. Again, another midfielder / forward here who I think the GWS Giants could use, because even though they're probably looking to potentially bring in some backs as well, I think they will find that later on in the draft. They definitely need to just keep replenishing this list and keep adding to it. They lost James Peatling, an important midfielder for them last season. They've got a couple of those midfielders like Callum Ward now really getting up there in age too. So having a guy like Taj Houghton, who I think is best available, can come replace him. And with the 20th overall pick as well, a guy who's a bit of a riser for me, but I've actually got the Giants selecting Tom Gross. I think they might go back-to-back midfield here. Again, you get a midfielder / forward with the first pick, and now a wing with this pick. Again, they seem to have had it in control, with their wings for the most part. But I think Josh Kelly will be spending a ton more time on the ball this season. James Peatling, who played a tiny bit of wing, and I think Isaac Cumming played a tiny bit of wing here and there as well. Both of them are gone, so you're probably going to be looking to add in a guy like Tom Gross. And realistic thing is, he's more of a, I think, player who is going to develop over time. A player who I think a team like Richmond would be really interested in too. So even though he's ranked like, I think 27, I don't think he'll go that low. I think he's going to go much higher because teams like Richmond are going to be looking around him. So GWS can capitalize here and bring in 2 good young midfielders to come help and strengthen this football club. But again, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment all of your thoughts and opinions down below on my official 2024 AFL mock draft. I'd very much like to know. Subscribe to my sports channel and my IRL/vlogging channels, my gaming and whatnot. Links to them be in the description down below. After all, this is the sports channel. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.